Okay. Good evening, everyone. We are at a meeting of the Dudley Charlton Regional School Committee. It is Wednesday, June 28th, 2023 at 7 p.m. No, it's 7:05 p.m., excuse me. We're at the Charlton Middle School today. And before we start, I'm calling the meeting to order, and we have Jasper Obby and Aurora Obby that's going to come up and help us say the Pledge of Allegiance. Come on up, guys. So if everybody could stand. So you guys can come on over here. Come on over here. You can stand right there. Okay? We'll start, stand there so you can see. All right, ready? You can start, Jasper.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent job.
Thank you. Nice job. Read lots of books this year, okay, this summer? Okay. Thank you. Well, thank you, Jasper and Aurora. We'll go and have a moment of silence. Great. Okay. We'll move forward to the consent agenda items. We're going to pull out the minutes of the regular meeting of June 12th, and we will vote on those the next meeting. We just need to make a correction. We will do the approval of the warrant. Does anyone, I'd entertain a motion to approve the warrant, which is voucher 1104 to 1108.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Sure, thank you. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, do we have any communications? I know that I received a communication today from a citizen, or yesterday from a citizen asking about kindergarten for next year and whether or not the decision's been made to go half-day or full-day kindergarten. So that was one of the questions that I had.
Madam Chair, I've received a couple of those questions as well, and I've responded to every one of them that were full-day kindergarten. That was taken off, the half-day options were taken off the table.
Great.
I did not pursue to see if they were looking for a half-day versus the full day or not, but they were just asking the question. So I've received about a half dozen of those as well.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you so much. Does anyone else have anything further in communications?
Actually, somebody asked me if the cost per student to ride the bus is the same for Charlton students as Dudley students.
So the bus contract is bid out district-wide, so there's no delineation for number of miles a student rides or anything like that, so.
Okay.
Right, and because we're a regional school district, we cannot, like, I know a lot of people have asked whether we can charge the public for riding the bus. It's not something that we can do by law. Because we're a regional school district, every child's entitled to ride the bus. So, all right, we will go to the superintendent's report.
Madam Chair and School Committee, I don't have a lengthy report, but I have a couple of items to share this evening. One is I write to share that Dudley Middle School Principal Christopher Stachewski, who's in our audience this evening, has accepted, I don't know where the comment came from, has accepted a position in another district. We have commenced the search process with Dudley Middle School Assistant Principal, Mr. Michael Tucker, who is facilitating the search. I share with you that Principal Stachewski is a lifelong Dudley resident who graduated from Shepherd Hill and has served as principal of Dudley Middle School since 2017. Principal Stachewski has also served as a town moderator for many years. We wish him well with his next endeavor. Congratulations, Mr. Stachewski.
Thank you.
The next item, the Charlton Middle School Principal Search Group, facilitated by Shepherd Hill Regional High School Assistant Principal Michael Resner, identified two finalists for the Charlton Middle School Principalship. Mr. Matt Carlson, who is currently an assistant principal in the Auburn Public Schools, and Dr. Stacy Monette, who is currently the principal of the Mashpee Middle High School. The district office members are meeting with the finalists, and selection is imminent. We've already had one meeting this week, and we have another one tomorrow. Dudley Middle School and Heritage Elementary School were selected by the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to participate in the 2024 administration of the National Assessment of Education Progress, NAEP. The NAEP is assessed by the National Center for Education Statistics, and Dudley Middle School and Heritage are selected along with other Massachusetts schools to assess nationally what students know and can do in various subjects. Massachusetts schools selected for participation are required to do so under 1993 Massachusetts Education Reform Act In addition, as a district that receives federal funds, for example, Title I, DCRSD is required to participate under Every Student Succeeds Act of 2015. I don't have details, but information will be forthcoming and will be provided to the principals as well. It is 2024, and I believe it is January of 2024. And my understanding, being gone through this a couple times, is they bring everything, all the materials required. If there's calculators required, they bring the calculators, tablets, whatever, they bring that all with them, and then they manage the entire thing. It's a hands-off type of process, just organization from our perspective. And then the next two items are later in the agenda. Okay? And that concludes my report.
Thank you. We'll move on to public comment. Is there anyone that is here for public comment? Sure, come on up. Great. So just as a reminder, you just have to state your name and the town that you're from.
My name's Anthony Obby. I'm a resident of Charlton. I spoke at the last meeting about the consensus among many parents and citizens of the town that feel very strongly about where the district is and where we're going and the potential shortcomings we're dealing with. And I left that meeting, like many parents, trying to figure out how we were going to address the conversation about how certain faculty or staff were not going to be accounted for potentially next year. And sometimes we don't give these kids enough credit because they're very intuitive. And before I could figure out how I was going to address it, I was approached by my son the very next morning at breakfast, which kind of took me off guard. And after an assignment late in the year that he had with his teacher, Mrs. Houghton, he's become very comfortable writing letters and speaking about his thoughts. And so he prepared a letter to the school committee that he'd like to present tonight that had no influence by myself or my wife, aside from typing it. But these were his drafts that he wrote over and over and has been waiting to present this to the committee and the towns at large to listen to his thoughts. So I would like to turn it over to my son, Jasper.
My name is Jasper Obby. Thursday morning, I came downstairs for breakfast and I saw my dad. I was carrying my piggy bank under my arm and I asked him, "Dad, do I have enough money in my piggy bank to keep the teachers and staff at my school?" My dad said, "I wish you did. Why do you ask?" I gave him a bunch of reasons and told him I wished I could tell the people in charge what I thought. Here's my list. I feel like it is unfair that people are losing their jobs. I feel like kids like me need more education. The kids and staff are so kind and caring. The teachers and staff help the students so much. To do good in school, students need as much help as they can get. I love the extreme build challenges that Mrs. Lemansky does in the library. Teachers like Mrs. Lemansky make reading and a whole bunch of other things fun. The book fair at the library has so many exciting books, it is hard to pick which one to get. The After the Bell program is amazing and we learn a lot. Ms. Dumas is a big part of making the After the Bell programs and I love all the classes. I want us to figure out a solution so we can keep the teachers and staff that help us learn. Thank you for letting me tell how I feel.
Jasper, thank you so much. We want to find a solution too. We do. But thank you so much for coming, and I hope we see you in that seat again when you're in high school. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jasper.
Hey, why don't you leave me a letter?
Oh, you can give me the letter.
Another public comment?
You want something to say? Miss Aurora, did you have a comment as well? Do you want to come up to the microphone? Do you feel comfortable over there, or do you want to come up over here? Your choice. Okay. This one's a surprise one, I think.
I feel like people should stay on their jobs because people like their jobs.
We do too, Aurora. Thank you.
Excellent job.
Thank you, Aurora. Okay. Is there any more public comment?
It's going to be hard to follow that.
Yeah, Mrs. Carmignani's going to need some tissues. Thank you. All right. We're going to move on to new business. The first order of new business is the school committee subcommittee assignments. So you have that paper in front of you. We have a few that need to be voted. So if you start at the top, we've already voted for myself and Jean as chair and vice chair. Secretary, I believe we voted last time as Erin Glenn. Assistant treasurer would be Stephen LaMarche. We're going to need to vote on that tonight, as well as Carol Barron being the borrowing authorization for the time being. Would that be accurate? Would that be, yes, okay. And then for the Southern Worcester Educational Collaborative representative, Stephen LaMarche would be, the Superintendent LaMarche would be our representative there. So I would entertain a motion to accept the Assistant Treasurer, borrowing authorization, and Southern Worcester Educational Collaborative representative appointments.
I second.
Great, thank you. So Caitlin and Maureen. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Aye, and the motion carries, everyone. Okay, great. So we'll go down to committee appointments. So budget and finance, we have for fiscal year '24, people that are interested are Jean Costello, Jamie DeLovo, Caitlin Pancic, Kelly Zella, and Nicole Enberg. So, and I would do it as well, but I think, one, I love the fact that everybody wanted to do that, yes.
I'll remove myself.
You'll remove yourself, okay. We can only have 3 or else we'd have a quorum. So we have Jamie, Caitlin, Kelly, and Nicole. So we need, I definitely feel it's important to have at least one representative from each town. So between Jamie, Kelly, and Nicole, we would probably need someone to step off. So why don't we keep that one? I think Kelly's coming, so we'll ask Kelly. Oh, hello. Kelly, you missed our excitement earlier. So we can wait on that if you want, and we'll come back to that one. Policy review, we have Jean Costello. Is anyone else interested in doing that? I can do that if you will, Maureen. Okay, so we'll put Maureen on there. So we'll have Jean and Maureen. Capital outlay safety, I have Jean and Kelly Zella. Does anybody else have any interest in that?
I can do it.
You'll do that, Caitlin? And Caitlin. Great. Curriculum and teaching and learning, we have Jean, Jamie, Kelly. That is 3 from Charlton. I don't know if anyone feels like they want. I did that last year. I don't know, would anyone like to kind of observe that? Or is that something you might want to take an interest in, or it's up to you? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll remove myself.
You'll remove yourself, okay. Okay, so we'll do Jamie, Kelly, and Maureen. School year calendar, we have Jamie, Caitlin, and Nicole. I think that's fine. Executive session minutes review, I think I'm typically on that. And if one more person wants to join me on that, that'd be great. You'll join me? Okay, thanks.
Who?
I did,
Jean?
that's gonna be Jean. Great. Negotiations, and this year, we're gonna have the
Paraprofessionals.
paraprofessionals. We call it something different at my school, I'm sorry. We have Caitlin Pancic and Jamie, and what is a typically, do you need,
It's typically 2.
it's typically 2?
Yep.
Okay, so
It
that's.
can be 3, but it's typically 2.
I put myself on that one too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see that. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So that's Jean.
Yep.
Okay, so that's 3. That's good. I didn't put myself on anything else. I feel like I've been going to a lot of things.
Do you want capital?
it doesn't matter to me. Like, I feel like if people want to do what they're doing.
I had done it last year, that's why I didn't add my name this year.
You know what, yeah. Why don't I do capital, because I've never done that, so that's fine. I'll take Caitlin's spot, that way we have a Dudley and a Charlton, if that's okay? Okay. Kathy. Okay, and then our liaisons to the Special Ed Advisory Committee, we don't have anyone now. Charlton, you've done it in the past. You've put yourself on a lot of committees, so I don't want to overextend you. Is that something you want to continue or no?
I show up to it regardless because I'm still an active member, board member on the CPAC.
Would you mind continuing doing that for us?
I think it would be great to have another voice.
Oh, to have another voice, okay. Does anyone else have an interest in that? You can do that? Okay.
Is that Nicole?
Nicole,
Okay.
yep. Charlton Board of Selectmen, we had Kelly and Nicole. Do you want to? Up to you guys. Do you want to put, you want to both put on there, and then that way you can circulate and figure out? Okay. Dudley Board of Selectmen, Maureen Chickering, you've offered that, thank you. And then the Dudley Charlton Education Foundation, we have Jamie and Nicole. So we can keep both of you on there, and you can share that too. Okay, great. Does anyone feel like I didn't?
Did you go back to budget?
Oh, I didn't go back to budget, okay. We have Jamie, Caitlin, Kelly, and Nicole. You what? It can only be three. It can only be three.
I can remove myself if I'd like to do the
Okay, you're gonna remove yourself, Kelly? Okay. Okay, good. Okay, I think we're pretty good. We can see if our things match in a minute. We don't, those are like my appointments for it, so it doesn't need to be voted on. Okay. So we're gonna go on to B, report of the Director of Finance and Operations, Director Matthew.
Thank you. First item is the French River Education Center, FY 2025 oil bid. French River Education Center has been working with its energy consultant to monitor the energy markets. FREC recently went out to bid for an oil contract for fiscal '25, not next year, but the year after, and pricing was favorable. The group voted to lock in at a price of $2.649, down from the 2024 bid of $3.0442, so a savings of roughly 40 cents. I recommend school committee vote to approve this contract as it provides additional savings for FY '25 in the school utility budgets.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to approve the French River Educational Center FY 2025 oil bid contract. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. So moved. So moved by Kelly. Second to Caitlin. Is that who it was? Yeah. Is there any discussion on that? Always love to get a lower quote. Thank you. All right. All those in favor? And that is everyone. Okay.
Thank you. Next up is the Vanpool transportation contract. This is the transportation provider that we use for both in-district and out-of-district special education transportation. We've been with them for the past 6 years for in-district transportation. In that time, the district's enjoyed savings compared to its previous contractor to the tune of a cost avoidance of at least $50,000 per year. The district also contracted with Vanpool for out-of-district transportation for the past 5 years, again providing similar cost avoidance and savings. With the latest contract proposal, their first after their consolidation with other transportation companies, Vanpool has looked to increase its rates for Dudley Charlton to more standard rates based on other clients. Their contract proposal has been uploaded to the shared drive, and other than the pricing increases, remains essentially the same. The district did contact other providers, and quotes were more expensive, sometimes to the tune of $100 a day per route. Some companies were not in a position to provide quotations. These price increases are factored into the FY '24 budget. I recommend school committee award the special education contract to Vanpool. And now, they did give us 3 different options: a 3-year contract, a 3-year contract plus 2 option years, and a 5-year contract. I believe the top page that's labeled Appendix A is the 3-year contract with option year 1 and option year 2 on it. That would be my recommendation for the committee to accept. That provides a level of savings versus just the 3-year contract. Doesn't lock us in for 5 years, even though the contract obviously includes a cancellation clause, just as any contract does, but allows us to judge where we're at as a district in fiscal '26 before exercising option years 1 and 2. As a point of reference, though, when I say that they're looking to increase their rates to a more standard rates based on other clients, the first-year increase is around a 15% increase.
I'd entertain a motion to accept the 3-year contract with options for years 1 and 2.
I so move.
Okay. Second. Okay, just as a discussion point, if you wish to do one of the other contracts, that's fine, just make sure you vote this one down, and we can still have discussions about the other contracts, too. Does anyone else have any discussion about this? No? Okay. Then we'll go to a vote. All those in favor of the 3-year with options for years 1 and 2 after that, for FY '27, FY '28? All those in favor? Okay, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. I do have a copy of the contract here.
Yes.
And would like to get signatures, if possible, before the end of the evening.
Okay.
Next is the natural gas extension. We did receive pricing today from Competitive Energy Solutions. Their natural gas, in their eyes, is projected to be volatile over the next 2 to 4 years. At this time, we have a contract that's locked in through the fall of 2024. In looking at the pricing provided, we have the opportunity for a fixed price contract for 12 additional months, 24 additional months, or 48 additional months. The 48-month rate is very close to what we're currently paying, so I would not recommend that. I would recommend the 1-year rate, which would be $5.595, 59.5 cents, versus our current 6.15 rate. That will provide us savings from the fall of 2024 to the fall of 2025, so a good portion of fiscal '25 and a portion of fiscal '26. And we can continue to look at the markets on a frequent basis to figure out when the opportune time is to keep extending that. Again, if the thought process from the company is that the market's going to remain volatile through fiscal '27, this gets us halfway there, but not all the way there.
So I'd entertain a motion to accept the 12-month rate. Do you need me to say anything other than that?
No, I think that's fine.
Okay.
If I may
Yes, go ahead.
add a point. Again, just like the electricity contract the last time around, there is volatility, so when we go back out tomorrow, this may be higher. So I would say if school committee could authorize me to accept a rate that's anything 5.75 or below for 12 months.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion to accept any rate that's 5.75 or below for the following 12 months.
Second.
So, okay. Any discussion? No? Okay. Again, thank you for saving money. Always appreciate it.
Unfortunately, we're saving money off of much higher costs, so it doesn't
Agreed.
really look like it in comparison,
Agreed.
but we do what we can.
Madam Chair, for a
Yes.
point of clarity, this isn't for FY '24. This is for going into FY '25.
Okay.
Just so people understand that we're saving money for the future, for the near future. It's not immediate.
Okay. Okay. All those in favor? Great. Motion carries unanimously.
And just a point of follow-up with the school committee, the electricity rate was locked in at .1275 per kilowatt hour, which was below the .13 authorized, and a savings off of the .18 that we're currently paying. But that rate, again, takes effect November 2024, not November 2023. The last item I have for school committee in my report is disposal of surplus material. The district purchased a used van from Vanpool 4 to 5 years ago for $2,000. It was meant to last a couple of years, provide a cheap solution for transportation for the district, and it was hoped that the district would be in a position to look into purchasing a newer version or additional. We understand where funding is. We were fortunate to get the student van that's used currently through a grant. But this vehicle now has repairs costing more than the original cost to us to own. We have been offered $500 for the vehicle. My recommendation is that we take it off the road, declare it a surplus, and sell it as soon as possible.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion to declare the van as surplus material.
Second.
Second. This has got the rhythm going on today. Okay, any questions, any discussion?
I have one just for information, sorry. Rich, since my bad ear is now pointed to you, did you say that, like, the reason of having that van, that currently we have another means of transportation through a grant for that? Is that what you said?
Yes, yeah, we have an 11-passenger student vehicle, I believe.
Okay.
Any further? No? All those in favor? And that's unanimously passed.
Thank you. And we have reached out to Vanpool to see if they have any of these surplus vehicles available. Again, $2,000 for 4 years' worth of work is a good value in my eyes. But due to supply chain issues, they actually do not have any surplus vehicles currently available, but have told us that they'd reach out to us to let us know when they do have one.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to C, continued discussion of fiscal year 2024.
Madam Chair and School Committee, this has been a standing agenda item for us, as you are aware, because you attended the Board of Selectmen's meeting in Dudley on Monday evening to know where the town of Dudley is. Last evening, we had the school committee workshop with the executive director for the Mass Association for Regional Schools, Maureen Marshall, as well as a representative from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to talk about 1/12 budget, because we did apply and move towards a 1/12 budget. Mr. Matthew continues to submit required documents for that, and obviously it's coming soon because June 30th is Friday. But we are in constant communication with DESE in preparation for that 1/12 budget starting July 1. It is our recommendation not to take any further action because, as you know, there is a scheduled Board of Selectmen's meeting tomorrow evening to see where the town is. You, as a committee, took action on June 14th. I did send out a correspondence yesterday with estimated timelines for things that it could obviously be changed or adjusted based off of the actions of the Town of Dudley Board of Selectmen. But again, we would recommend no further action this evening, other than we did learn yesterday that we should vote a new assessment to the communities, especially because it involves the voluntary contribution of $1.5 million from the town of Charlton to pay towards the roof project. As you can see, there's roof materials around here, and they're getting started. Hopefully the sun will be out strong for a while, but I would recommend no other action on our current level services budget. And I would add that the school committee took action that evening of reducing the budget by $200,000. I know that the committee and the public would want to know, that was in my communication, that is represented by the assistant superintendent's position and a Shepherd Hill Regional High School physics teacher at this time for that value to reach the $200,000 reduction in the level services budget at this point in time. I wasn't sure if there were any specific questions regarding that. Well, I'm sorry, one more piece. Mr. Matthew and I have also been in touch with the town administrator for Charlton to make sure that he's aware of the work that we're continuing to do, because we do have those open lines of communication and that strong relationship between the communities. So I just wanted to make sure that you as a committee knew that as well, that we continue with those open lines of communication. But again, I don't know if there were any other questions or any other actions by the committee this evening.
Yes, go ahead.
I had reached out to you to ask about the school resource officer. I know there's still questions about whether or not we're going to be able to staff that, since the district pays half of the salary and the town of Dudley pays the other half. And I don't know if there's any resolution to that quite yet.
Through the chair, as I communicated with you, Where we are right now with the level, let's call it the level services budget still, our portion is still in that budget. So whether if the town of Dudley moves, as you heard the other evening, that they were going to reduce that or possibly couldn't fund that, we're not sure exactly what that looks like from their perspective, but we would still, if our level services budget moves forward, we would still fund what we can, if not try to, work on something more, but we know that that's a valuable resource for our community and for Shepherd Hill Regional High School. It's in that level services budget for us, at least our portion.
Okay. Hopefully, as we get more information from Dudley, we can look at possibly funding the whole salary if that was needed and rearranging some other things, because I think that's important to continue. So I'm actually surprised it's not funded by the district 100%, to be honest, but the other concern I have after learning at the meeting on whatever day it was, Monday? Was the fact that the Dudley Library will be closed for all of Dudley. And we currently have no librarians in any of our elementary or middle schools. So these students have no access to a public library and now very limited access in their school library. So that's another concern that I think that we need to discuss at some point about how we fix that problem where we can.
Madam Chair, Ms. Panzik, I appreciate that, but again, we're at a point where it's add one thing, take something else off.
Right.
That's just what we're doing.
I think we also have to be mindful of, we may still need to look at, if we were able to get the level services budget minus the 200,000, we need to still look at what our other costs and revenue decreases may be. If we don't get our full allotment of school choice, that certainly changes things as well. So I think that's something we need to keep an eye out. So it definitely is going to be one of those influx kind of things.
Mhm.
So we need to take,
Yeah,
we need to take a
based
vote.
on the conversation with the DESI reps, they recommended that we do include the $1.5 million within the budget itself.
Okay.
So those are the updated numbers that you have there. School committee had previously voted the 1.5 as an additional assessment, and it's still laid out that way, but again, the numbers are now
Right.
included there.
So this is not really adding anything to what we've done, it's just more of a clerical fix for us.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'd entertain a motion to approve a total budget of $58,321,624 with assessments to the town of Charlton for $16,837,881, plus a one-time assessment for capital in the amount of $1.5 million, and an assessment to the town of Dudley for $10,937,991.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Again, this is a clerical type of thing that we learned from our meeting yesterday that was recorded for anyone that might have missed it. So, okay. Seeing no further discussion. All those in favor? And that passes unanimously. Okay. So that is that. And does that end our conversations on C? Yes? Now we're up to D.
So, Madam Chair and School Committee, because we do not have the Assistant Superintendent's position at this time, and I do want to publicly say that I have been receiving lots of emails around homeschooling, because that was the Assistant Superintendent's position. I have not had a chance to respond to those at this point in time, but I am getting them, and I will respond. I'll start working on them as soon as I can. So there are lots of responsibilities and duties that are coming my way from the Assistant Superintendent's position. That's just one. But with that said, without this position, as you know, as a committee, we have invested a lot of staff time, energy, and for our students to have high-quality instructional materials. And we don't want to lose ground with that process through the assistant superintendent's work. So this evening, I am recommending a request for a K-8 curriculum coordinator stipend. And it's in my report. With the reduction of the assistant superintendent's position, a major requirement is the continuation of sizable, high-quality instructional materials implementation grants within the Dudley Charlton Regional School District. That runs parallel with annual grant funding requirements. The continuation and success of K4, CKLA, 6-8 into mathematics and 6-8 Open SciEd, which is new, will be new, is predicated on administrative oversight. With that said, I am recommending an annualized elementary principal leadership stipend of $15,000 to focus specifically on these K-8 instructional priorities as a K-8 curriculum coordinator for the district. This is a Band-Aid. You've heard me at this table before talk about how we give stipends, we give full-time jobs, and we turn it into a stipend to give a full-time person 2 full-time jobs. And this is just one piece that I just think, with everything else that's going to come from the assistant superintendent's position, this is one that I don't think you as a committee, the community, the teachers, educators, students should lose ground on. I think these have been worthwhile investments for the past 3 years, and I think that school committee should take this step to at least ensure that there is administrative oversight close to the practitioners who will be implementing this. So I put that forward to you as a committee. Again, if you hear a little frustration from my voice, it is because we're stipending positions that should be full-time jobs in our district. It's not the first. I feel like it may not be the last, but I do recommend this to the committee this evening.
Could I change one item?
Sure.
Because it's a K-8 curriculum coordinator stipend, can we have just take out the elementary and just make it an annualized principal leadership stipend in case you had a middle school principal that wanted to apply in the future? Not that you have.
Madam Chair, my only concern is we're hiring 2 new principals, and I really don't want to put this on their table for middle school. So you're saying beyond this year?
No, I'm saying for this, I'm
So
saying
we're
for this year.
hiring 2 brand-new principals that are going to have enough on their plate just rolling into our district and becoming principals at our middle schools. So that's why I was targeting elementary for
Okay, if you're targeting
the
elementary, that's fine.
principals that are
I just-
here,
Okay,
okay? But I'll change it if whatever motion the school committee wants to make.
what, does anyone else have a thought on that?
I assumed it could be anyone, not just a principal. Could it be a teacher or?
I would think that you need someone with a principal level licensure or an assistant principal, assistant superintendent licensure to be able to do the work.
I mean, I understand your concern is we're limiting, but we could always, to his point, the chances of a brand-new principal coming in wanting this is probably slim, but the wording limits who we offer it to, basically. I don't.
Again, my hope is this is a Band-Aid. This is not a
Agreed,
permanent position.
agreed.
So it's the here and now for my
Are we
recommendation.
sure of didn't sound like we are, the qualifications that are needed? Is it definite that those are the requirements for that person to move into that position?
What was
I think
your-
it's best to have an administrator, a licensed administrator, practicing administrator for the oversight purposes for a myriad of reasons. Communication with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, the grant mechanisms that are in place, has the experience of, crossing the T and dotting the I's through the grant, because it is work that requires administrative oversight.
I would agree.
As it being a new stipend, and we already made a 200K reduction, and we've already said multiple times that anytime we add, we have to take away from somewhere else, where are we finding the $15,000 to pay the stipend?
The combined total of the assistant superintendent's position and the Shepherd Hill Regional High School physics teacher exceeds $200,000, so the balance is
So it'd
being
be in
put
there?
towards this.
Okay, good to know. I'll make a motion first. So I'd entertain a motion to put a K-8 curriculum coordinator stipend of $15,000 for a principal leadership stipend of $15,000 for a K-8 curriculum coordinator.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. So just to start discussion, I do think you're right, it's a Band-Aid. One of the things that I think that we want to watch for, as this Band-Aid's there, is I want to protect the time of whoever takes this on. So if they could try to keep a record as best as possible of how much time they're doing, because if we, when we talked originally about this, we talked about putting almost a $30,000 grant writer in that position. And I don't want to be taking advantage of a person that's working for us. If we need to add more funds to this, then that's maybe what we need to do, because the amount of funds we get back from these grants is amazing. They're in the, over $1 million, I believe. So I think we need to be careful and considerate of where that person is, whoever is chosen for that.
Agreed.
Great, okay. Is there any more discussion? No. Okay. All those in favor? Okay, motion passes.
It was unanimous, right?
It was unanimous, yeah.
Right.
Okay, moving on to E, Mass Association of School Committees Fall Conference.
Madam Chair, each year, school committee members sign up for this conference. There is a deadline for early registration or reduced cost. I'm not sure, given the climate where school committee is, but we want to continue to provide you with the information. And if people are interested in going for this, I would ask them to at least submit their interest before July 15th for the reduction in early cost to Miss Erin Glenn of the school committee.
And just so everyone knows, we are planning on having MASC come out this summer to do a workshop with us, just to make sure we're a little up to speed on certain things. But any new member should be doing the new member training, which is a marginal cost.
Madam Chair, yeah, and it's not a should, they're required to.
They are required
In the first
to.
year of being on school committee.
Right.
They're required to attend charting the course.
Okay, and do we know the date of charting the course? It's usually in July, right?
Oh, it goes out throughout the entire
It-
year.
Yeah, okay.
Just as a point of information, I went to this conference last year, and they did offer certain aspects of charting the course.
Right.
We weren't aware, and so we didn't go to those certain, so if any of the new members do go to this, I would ask about it, because we learned about it more than halfway through. So
Right.
then I had to go an additional day for an 8-hour charting the course,
Right,
when I could have handled it here, so.
okay. Okay. And if anyone has, any of our new members have questions on the conference, let us, just ask. We're happy to give you information on it. Okay. But please, if you are interested, why don't you have a conversation with me and Steve, and we can make sure we get, I want to make sure we save as much money as we can. So, okay. Any further conversation on that? All right, we'll move on to the superintendent evaluation. So it is in your packets, and we will post it on the website as well. I have the summary of the superintendent evaluation for 2022, 2023. Our response rate is, we had 5 out of 7 members complete. And so on goal number 1, the DCRSD will systematically move towards the adoption of K-8 science, high-quality instructional materials aligned with the Mass curriculum frameworks. We had 40% with some progress, 40% with significant progress, and 20% with met expectations. And there is input below that was provided to the superintendent, which will be made public.
Madam Chair, it is already on our website.
Oh, it's already on the
yeah,
website?
and it's
Oh,
in the
great.
packets as well.
Okay, wonderful. So on the goal, how do you want me to proceed then? If it's on the website, does anyone need me to read through each one? No? Okay. I will just at least let the public know for the performance standards, for standard 1, instructional leadership, Superintendent LaMarche was rated proficient overall. For standard 2, management and operations, Superintendent LaMarche was rated proficient overall. For standard 3, which is family and community engagement, he was rated proficient overall. He did receive an exemplary rating from someone as well. Standard 4, professional culture, he was rated proficient overall. So, does any members of the committee have any questions or input they want to add? Yes.
We had discussed, since it was only 5 out of the 7 members doing this evaluation, because it's, I mean, the new members have only been here a month. Is there a way, I don't know exactly, to have it earlier, so that the exiting
Yeah, I
members,
think one
rather
of the
than
things
not
that,
having everybody?
one of the things that we've talked about before is the timeline and when to do this. I think, we are seeing that only 5 out of 7 members completed it, and I think it is important where next year is the year that we have to vote to go into contract negotiations with Superintendent LaMarche for the next contract. So I think it would be really important to have 7 out of 7. And we may want to do that in April.
I agree.
So,
And to add to that, I mean, I did raise that question as well, and I am one of the 2 that did not provide any evaluation. Again, I've been in this seat for approximately 1 month. I absolutely, I actually asked if the former 2 members who were on the SC until May and June could provide their input, and I was advised no, because they're not technically members anymore. But I still feel like that's, one was obviously on the board for 30 years and another for approximately 5 years, so I think their input would be extremely valid. I don't know if that can be something that can be reconsidered.
go ahead.
So I asked that question when I first got on the board 2 years ago, and when I got on, and it was like, hey, we're evaluating the superintendent. And I asked the same thing. And the chair at that time, because we had not yet restructured, because I think it was May and not June when I brought up the question, reached out to the lawyer as well. And it was very much, no, you being the elected person now, you're the one that has to do it. If they wanted to come up and speak during public comment, they could, but it wasn't stipulated either in the contract or prior as with the evaluation, so we couldn't suddenly spring it on now. So there's, part of it's legality.
So, and how we're going to remedy that is by moving this back next year.
Yeah, but I think we have to understand that with the budget process the way it is, you're also tasking the superintendent with, in the middle of the budget process, to then present all this information. So I think we have to, keep that in mind. Do you have any comments about it?
I don't.
Okay,
I have another comment.
sure.
Given that the seat that I'm currently in is 1 year, every year, I'm going to assume there's going to be 6 out of 7 responses until that 3rd year comes for each
Right.
person. So I feel like 7 may not happen
Yeah.
often.
Wasn't last year 7 of 7?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
You didn't do
Oh,
it.
but you were on vacation. Yeah.
Okay. So is it?
Elected and left the country a
Right.
week later, so.
Right.
I don't even think
Okay.
I had my email up and running when the eval form went out, to be honest,
You probably didn't know.
so.
So, and I have one more comment.
Yes, go ahead.
And so I was thinking about that. And I thought one of the things that I would like to task the policy subcommittee to do is to actually do something similar like other school committees have in Massachusetts, which is kind of like a school committee handbook. So when you come on, it's like a quick 15 to 20 pages of this is, kind of like the nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
And what our school committee concept and culture and understanding and direction. So you're not just coming in like, hey, you're elected, now vote on a $53 million budget. Hey, you're elected, here's kind of the bones of what happens.
Yeah.
I just think that would kind of help move and kind of streamline some of the questions that pop up.
Sure. I think that's not a bad idea.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Take a whole year to figure out really what's going on. I feel like this was a learning year, and if it was a jump
Right.
start of a handbook to kind of get a better idea, it might
Mhm.
certainly be helpful.
Sure. Okay. So for next year, we will move the evaluation cycle to happen prior to the Charlton election, which that is May, like the first weekend in May? Okay, so we would have to have that done probably the first meeting in April. The superintendent would provide us with his evidence, and then the second meeting in April, I would provide you with the summary. Does that seem appropriate? Okay. That means during April vacation, you may be doing an evaluation for me. Just keep that in mind. Okay. All right, moving on to update, G, which is the Update Shepherd Hill Building Committee. Superintendent LaMarche?
Madam Chair and School Committee, I did provide you the communications as required and requested by MSBA. I had to provide them a letter by June 23rd, Friday the 23rd, regarding the failed vote for the feasibility study in the town of Dudley. I had to try to provide some type of understanding. As you see in that letter, I state to the best of our ability to understand the almost 2-to-1 vote against authorization. It was anecdotal and reflective of the community's concern for a multi-million-dollar recommendation that could potentially be a next step. Furthermore, that the local ballot was in combination with other requested operational overrides. I did communicate with the Dudley town leaders, and I did not have support or identified areas for how the feasibility study could be funded. Therefore, that's why this letter was sent to the Mass School Building Authority. Attached to that, you'll see that their response to the Mass School Building Authority. Interesting enough, I did not mention in my letter the April 25th vote, but they did mention it in their letters that it's 2 failed votes. And in order to formalize the final request to be removed, there is a declaration of removal of statement of interest from MSBA that is due July 21st, 2023. Again, I have not been able to identify a mechanism to support the feasibility study moving forward, so it is a return to ground zero for that project.
Okay, do we have anybody that has any questions?
The only other thing I would respectfully ask the school committee to do, either, not this meeting, next meeting, is to vote to disband the school building committee that's in place, so that we have an official record of that as well.
Do we want to just do that tonight?
You could do it this evening, yes.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to vote to disband the Shepherd Hill Regional High School feasibility committee, school building committee?
The
Say
Shepherd
it.
Hill.
Thank you.
Shepherd Hill School Building Committee.
Okay. Is there, anyone want to move that or second it?
So moved.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question before we vote?
Yeah.
Is there any information that was taken from that committee that we could possibly use, even without the feasibility study?
Yeah, we do have the record of the tour and the information from the tour as well. Again, it was a committee of volunteers that was, in one of their main functions was to settle on a cost of a feasibility study. And other than that, we did, again, take the extra step of taking a tour, gathering some photos, so there is information that could be used moving forward.
Yes.
My only concern is Dudley does have the idea floating around about doing another ballot, and I don't know when. But if they, I think it has to be a 30-day notice. If they were to decide tomorrow to do another ballot and put this question on again, and we've now.
Again, we have until July 21st to declare ourselves, but we have not met MSBA timelines. The 23rd was their deadline. I could certainly give them a call, but because we've had lots of conversations, but we're outside. We received a 30-day extension already for June 28th, and they moved it up to June 23rd because of the failed vote. So I'm not sure there is room for us to do that. The 21 days is for us just to review the declaration.
Do you feel that like at least a call would be warranted, and we could provide that information to the selectmen tomorrow night?
I certainly could try.
Okay.
But again, I've already spoken with town leaders, but I could certainly do it again.
Well, I think if you find out from MSBA that we would have one more shot at it, I think, certainly as school committee members, we could attend the meeting tomorrow night and at least implore to try again.
I would just hate to disband it and then find out tomorrow there's another ballot coming. That's my only
Okay.
concern. I
Then
mean,
why don't we just table this motion until the next meeting? Do I have to vote to table?
There was only one, there was not a second for it.
Oh, there was no
There
second?
was no second.
Oh, I thought there was a second.
No,
Yeah, she
Kelly kind of
seconded.
whispered me, yeah. I'm
Oh,
not sure.
all
I'm
right,
not sure I
so-
really, yeah,
Okay, all right, so we'll put that off until next one.
yeah.
Okay, so, school committee summer schedule.
Madam Chair, usually at this meeting, but it's very difficult to do that because you're not sure, as you indicated, Monday evening, if there is a town meeting or a ballot, the school committee should schedule a meeting the next day to go from there. And also, there needs to be some consideration for scheduling, as you heard last evening, a district-wide meeting. And the recommendation from even the executive director from ours in DESI is to wait and see what the town does tomorrow evening.
Right.
So summer schedule's in flux. We did already try to schedule something July 19th for bands, so
Okay.
that's still in the books. And then we typically schedule in the middle of August. We don't schedule the traditional timelines in August for a school committee meeting, to give people time because there's a lot of vacations and family time. So we typically look at something like August 16th or the 23rd for a school committee meeting in August. And that's usually to
Okay.
approve handbooks and prepare for the opening of school.
Okay, so, I would just ask if school committee members could just send me a list of when you're not in town. That would be helpful. Understanding that, yes, some people may go away at this, if you're able to. But if you know specifically that you have a week off, let me know, and then I can try to schedule something around. We will be scheduling a workshop, but that is just for school committee members. It wouldn't be a public session at that point, so. Okay. Good. Is there anything else? I would just ask when we're done, if the school committee members could stay for a minute. We have some contracts to sign, and we need to make sure we have everyone's signatures, okay? So, yes, go.
And the warrants too.
And the warrants too. Sorry, I didn't move those around. Okay, so I'd entertain a motion to adjourn? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.